Hi, my name is Ren. I'm not going to talk to you today about Lyme disease. I'm going to talk to you about something that I believe is a bigger problem that encompasses it. It encompasses any chronic or serious illness, be it cancer, ALS, any sort of depression, be it schizophrenia or anything like that, Lyme disease, ME, all of those things. I believe part of the reason that we are still suffering to these with such an extent in our society is a symptom of a bigger picture, and that is the picture that profit has become married to medicine. Business is necessary in some parts of medicine, but I believe profit should never be in the equation, and I will explain why. In our country, in the UK, health is about to follow suit of places like America, and the NHS is slowly becoming destabilised, and it will eventually become private. It's slowly but surely it's happening. You will see it happen in the next 10 years. And one of the main problems of that is that the most rich people of this country, they will be able to afford the very best healthcare, while the poorest are kind of either left to suffer or given the most cost-effective healthcare, which isn't always the most medically effective. The reason that this is such a big problem is because the business model in a profit sense does not belong in medicine. Medicine should always be run with no conflict of interest. It should always be run by doctors. It should always be run by scientists, because I think it is a basic human right when it is available, and it is available to us, for the level of healthcare to be on an even keel across the board. We do have that capability in our society, and yet it does not happen because of the fact that profit has become married to medicine. Another massive problem is that you have a situation whereby things like depression or ADHD are the most diagnosed conditions in the Western world. The reason that this is such a problem is because when we go to the doctor to try and get treated for these things, I believe we've gotten to a stage where it's not about getting to the root cause and making sure these people just, when I went to my doctor, initially, when I was suffering with lots of neurological things and depression, they didn't say, have you tried changing your diet? Have you tried exercising more off the bat? I filled in a questionnaire of 8 questions, and then they said, oh, okay, we'll put you on citalopram, we'll put you on an antidepressant, and you can take this for, a year or 2 years, and then we'll see how you go. The reason that this is such I think a negative thing is this. I think that medicine has gotten to a stage where there are companies who are not really interested in your condition being completely cured, and I'll tell you why. It's because medicine generates profit in some instances. In America, you have kids as young as 5 being put on Ritalin for their whole lives, their whole school lives. They're kept on this medicine, and do you know why? It's because every time they take a pill, it generates profit for the pharmaceutical companies. So it's not in their best interest for you to be cured overnight, because if you are cured overnight, you no longer become a consumer. And that kind of translates across the board, be it things like Crohn's disease, where you're taking symptom suppressive medicine. There is less of a push to find the actual cure, because we can go, we can keep people going from feeling 100% bad to about 40% bad, but that's okay because they're taking these things every day and they are staying sick. But they're able to maintain a certain quality of life, and they're generating profit, which is a bonus. But that should never happen, because at the heart of those things, people are suffering, people are dying. And you can kind of go into it even more. I mean, you can go into the medical model and say, well, the push isn't being poured in enough for certain illnesses because the money just isn't there, or the public awareness isn't there, the public don't care about it enough because they aren't experiencing themselves. But that should never, ever be the case for medicine. I mean, maybe you can have profit in different, just like normal consumerist things like clothes and fancy electronic gear and stuff like that. Maybe it makes sense because consumerism is a drive and it makes an economy boost and boom because it is a great incentive to do things like that. But in medicine, profit should be divorced, because when you have a number of people in society sick, those societies do not function properly. So I give it to you this. So even if you are a very strong believer of profit in medicine because you believe that it makes it thrive, what essentially is happening is it is actually negatively affecting you, because when you have healthy people in a society, happy people in a society, that society flourishes and more money is being generated in different areas, which makes an economy boom. So it does not make sense for the medical model to be married with profit, because I think that profit hinders progress in some areas, like medicine. Medicine should always be run by doctors, it should always be run by scientists, it shouldn't be run by businessmen. Then, if we do finally get sick, we need the most effective healthcare available to everyone, not just somebody that is really well off or is lucky enough to be able to afford it. We need to get to a state where anybody who gets sick gets curative medicine, not symptom suppressive medicine, not profit generating medicine. And we've also gotten to a stage where we are using medicines not because they are the most effective medicines, but because they are the most cost-effective medicines to produce. We're also getting to a stage where scientific research is now subject to bias, because the majority of these research things, even though that they're peer-reviewed and looked at by other scientists, they're largely funded by pharmaceutical companies who are profit-generating businesses. Now, I'm not one of these people that are saying all pharma is bad and all doctors are bad and there is a big conspiracy against people and that's why we don't have cures. That's not it. It's just common sense. If you take everybody's taxes and you direct them in such a way that is filtering them down to companies who aren't interested in generating profit by medicine, you will have a situation whereby we're pouring a lot more money into the most vital research, and you're pouring a lot more money into the actual things that are really helping people, better education in schools about how to stay well and how to really honour your own health, and it's so important. That's basically it. It's just a small talk that I wanted to speak about with health, and health is the foundation of everything. Without health, there is nothing. Health comes first and then everything follows. Happiness follows, success follows. But when health is low, and we are living in a sick society, you will see numbers of various diseases on the rise. And that shouldn't be the case in a progressive society. When a society is progressing, you would expect science to be progressing and for health levels to be progressing. But that's not true. So we have economies and business boosting, but people's qualities of life getting lower. So what does that say? It says that we are living in an inherently flawed model that desperately needs to change. So I say this, man, don't destabilise public health. Make public health a global thing. Make there be an organisation of health which is a global organisation, not just operating independently in different countries, because all of this stuff about debt, like countries' debt, like this country owes $30 billion to this country, all that stuff. Money, at the end of the day, was invented by humans. This way that we survive, people look at money like it was as solid as the laws of physics. But money was invented by people. It's all part of this big monopoly game that we're playing, and people just take it so seriously and go, yeah, but we can't do that because of money. But we decided to do that as people, and we can decide a completely different model which benefits people and that keeps people healthy. And that's it. And it's not about saying, oh, but then socialism doesn't work, communism doesn't work, because it's not about choosing between these models. They're not as set in stone either. People's ideas, we can create a society, an economy that moves past all of those ideas, that kind of is more evolved than everything. It doesn't necessarily have to be either or. They're not as set in stone as the laws of physics. They all come from people's ideas. We all invented these things and we can progress them, and yet we believe them and cling on to these models so much that they actually hinder us and they make us sad and they make us sick. So I say this to you, man, progress as a society, progress as a world, and it makes sense that we are globalized in the age of connectivity, where with internet, where I can talk to somebody in Australia in a split second, I can see their face. That is fucking amazing. So use it. Stop being so separate. Stop cutting each other off from and believing in this separation and believing in this survival of the fittest, that we all have to compete. If we want to be successful, I'm going to stand on the little man to do so. Bullshit is what I say. We need to move forward.